Hello and welcome. You're watching News9 Live. My name is Pankaj Mishra and with me is my colleague and executive editor of News9 Live, Karthikeya Sharma. And the issue that we are discussing is obviously a burning one. The violence in Manipur. That has something which has been grabbing the headlines over the last few days. Churachandpur district in Manipur is seeing a return to normalcy after the violence and tensions over the past few days. Last Thursday evening, a mob had attacked an open gym that was to be inaugurated by Chief Minister Biren Singh, who was also scheduled to give a public address following the event. To control the situation, Section 144 and a night curfew was put into place, primarily in Lamka town, the epicenter of the unrest. The state government swung into action. Mobile internet services were temporarily suspended for 5 days. Meanwhile, Mizo Zirlai Paul, MZP, Mizoram's leading students organization, has expressed its concern from the neighboring state over the situation in Manipur. They are saying that they are critical of the chief minister and that the alleged eviction of the Zo people from the land should be stopped. Let's listen into what the chief minister had to say first.
Regarding of the action taken out by those in Churachandpur.
That is a constituency matter. Within one MLA want to inaugurate and celebrate his anniversary, and some miscreant has destroyed the gym. So it is the internal matter of their constituency.
Do you think it is in that?
No.
Sir, have there been arrests in connection with last incident?
Miscreant, we will take definite action.
I think this Churachandpur incident is very unfortunate, so to say, and it is the in fact it is the failure of the government administrations. So it's totally paralyzed the systems of the government, and this uncontrolled of this thing, the public, and is because of this it has had happened there in Churachandpur yesterday.
Well, Karthikeya, we heard the chief minister, and as the state has been claiming that, the incident and the gym inauguration, which was an open gym, that was not a state affair. Also, the government order, which was passed in 1966 about turning these Kuki tribal areas into a certain part of it as protected areas. Here we have a government in Manipur which is trying to just follow that order and bring some semblance to it. How do you see this whole episode playing out in Manipur?
This violence took place on the eve of Thursday, Friday.
Right.
But the important thing is that the violence is in context to know for us is that there is a demand of Zoland Territorial Council 1. Secondly, there is a drive which the Manipur government is undertaking.
Right.
Now that drive is about eviction to clear protected areas, wildlife sanctuaries and wetlands of illegal settlers. One, there is a drive. Secondly, the Manipur government under Biren Singh is also undertaking a drive against illegal poppy cultivators, illegal poppy cultivation. They are destroying poppy fields in forest land and reserved and protected areas.
Right.
So they are taking action against narcotics. Now even Amit Shah has been speaking about narcotics. A lot of articles have come. So I think there is a nationwide push to ensure that the narcotics does not become a bane, which it has in countries like Thailand, Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Right.
Now in this context, what happened, since every political issue in Northeast becomes an issue of identity, unfortunately. So the people who have been living there, now you can say that they have been living there for decades, but it doesn't make them the legal settlers. But they have been living there for decades, and primarily they are also known as illegal settlers, and they belong to the Kuki Zomi communities. Now this is the drive which is seen as targeting the Kuki Zomi communities akin to the Mizos of Mizoram. So that is why they are called Zo people.
Right.
Now in this context they are saying that you are targeting us. So an activity which was pertaining to poppy fields, an activity which was pertaining to destroying illegal poppy cultivation, which leads to heroin and other narcotics, is being seen as a drive against community. Now in that context, what is happening is that violence took place.
Right.
Mizoram has also taken up this issue of inner line permit. You would know that, inner line permit in India is in force in Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland. Suppose you want to visit Nagaland or Arunachal Pradesh, you have to go to Arunachal Bhavan in Delhi. Then you take the inner line permit, and then you get to enter Itanagar. Suppose you travel from Assam, people will stop you at Itanagar.
Right.
It's a different thing if you smuggle yourself in, but if you don't have inner line permit, the hotel will not
You
give
won't be
you
able
stay.
to
You will
move.
not be allowed to go inside. You will not get a stay. So that is a required document. So Manipur demands it from Mizoram. So an issue which was something like a targeted action against certain miscreants turned into an identity issue. That led to violence. Yes. Now what happened after that was that the office building of the range forest officer in Tuibong area was attacked. Then arson attack followed a clash between police and protesters on Friday. And then there was an 8-hour shutdown by indigenous tribal leaders, which is called ITLF. And that was an 8-hour shutdown. Then CSO members were called in, which is civil society organizations. They had a meeting with the Manipur Director General of Police. Then an assurance was sought from them. Assurance was that there will be no blockage of mob violence. Then on April 27, 8:30 p.m. with the bite which we heard, the miscreants vandalized the open gym at PT Sport Complex at Churachandpur, which was to be inaugurated by Chief Minister, which the wires have been reporting.
Yes.
This
And
is what
Biren
the
Singh.
wires have been reporting, that this was supposed to happen. So there was a build-up to this. The build-up happened because of the fact that there is a drive by Manipur government to ensure that protected and forest areas are vacated, one by illegal settlers and those who are cultivating poppy. So the protected areas, wildlife sanctuaries and wetlands, I must tell you, Manipur has a huge, one of the biggest Asian lakes.
Oh, okay.
Manipur has one of the biggest
Contributes to
Asian lakes. In fact, the wetland of Manipur is very, very unique. And the wetland of Manipur is unique in a way that the entire community survives on it. People live on those wetlands.
Right.
In fact, it
Which
is
could be-
as unique as the extinct Aral Sea. So Manipur's wetland, the Manipur lake, in itself is a very, very unique phenomena.
Yeah.
Now, in that context, when you take out drives to ensure clearance, to clear out poppy cultivation, the violence took place.
Right.
So I think this violence has to be understood in the larger context of the Northeast politics, that everything in Northeast is moving around the rubric of identity politics. So if you have hyper identity politics, everyone wants a territorial council. For example, you have a Bodoland territorial council. Now you have a Zoland territorial council. So you would say administratively how much Northeast can be broken down into autonomous area, territorial council. I mean to say, if you have parts, then the part is sum of the whole, na?
Absolutely.
It is somewhere there. So I mean to say, Northeast cannot be beholden to just identity politics. So I would
have
say
to
that
look at,
the other side of the picture is that there is a drive which was being taken out to evict illegal settlers and poppy cultivators. And suddenly, why that violence broke, who instigated the crowd? I think Biren Singh is saying that investigation will take place. So the investigation will take place.
Well, Karthikeya, let's also take perspective from the Northeast. Subir Bhaumik is joining us on the broadcast, a senior journalist who happens to cover the Northeastern development. Subir, thank you so much for speaking to us. The latest, what do you see? We heard the Chief Minister also promising stern action against those who perpetrated this violence. What are you picking up there?
And can I, Subir, can I just add to it? What led to this violence? What is your analysis? What's the big picture?
Well, the big picture is that governments in Northeast don't have a land use policy. And that's why, Northeast, which borders on Myanmar, which is one of the biggest drug-producing zones of the world, the Golden Triangle, you've heard about it. Now, if you live so close to such an area, farmers are tempted to go in for poppy cultivation, and this is normal economics at play. That in the hill regions, if you don't have alternate crops, and you can't really do wet rice agriculture because it's the hill area, and this is the hill area that we are talking about. Both Churachandpur, which is Kuki dominated, and Ukrul and some other parts which are Naga dominated, are hill areas. where normal wet rice agriculture, which is possible in the plains of Manipur, that is the Imphal Valley, is not possible there. Now, successive governments, and I don't have to blame Biren Singh because he's not so old in government, but successive governments previously held by the Congress and then other parties, they have never given any importance, and not just in Manipur, even in my state, Tripura. There is no land use policy. Now, I work as a farmer myself, who has done rubber cultivation in Tripura and now doing spice cultivation. I can strongly advocate that if the government in Manipur were to, stop poppy cultivation, if they just go in and bulldoze their way through and, leave farmers with no other option, then it's not going to work. People are going to resent it. And then some of these people that my previous speaker was talking about identity politics, they will jump into the fray and say, oh, the cookies are being alienated and stuff like that. The solution to this is advocating a proper land use policy.
So, Dada Kartike here, I was the one who was saying that, sometimes even the eviction issues can turn into the issue of identity politics, but you have very well explained that Northeast requires a larger land use policy, and so are you saying that the most you are pointing out to a very pertinent thing in context of declining rainfall and other things. I am not trying to deviate from the subject. Do you think that some sort of innovation, intervention is required when it comes to Northeast in agricultural areas, agricultural practices?
The simple thing is people need to know something about agriculture, something about farming, which most of our leaders don't. And the bureaucrats certainly don't. I've been a farmer myself, so I know. You have to do, spice cultivation, for which Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram are all eminently suited. Now, let me tell you, Mizoram, Manipur, they grow so much ginger. Why can't there be a ginger ale factory there, which can be set up by one of the breweries like Mickens or somebody like that? So what I'm trying to say is, if you don't come up with appropriate alternate crops which gives the farmers an income, they are bound to turn towards poppy, they are bound to turn towards this kind of cultivation which is illegal and which can be damaging and which can turn this zone into an illegal drug producing area because it sits so close to Burma's or Myanmar's Golden Triangle. So the option here is not to just go and bulldoze your way. You have to clear the poppy cultivation if there are some there. But what you really have to do is give the farmers an alternative because they are your people. They're not Pakistani infiltrators that you just send your army in and kick them out. So you got to tell them, okay, guys, don't do poppy. I'm giving you some other crops with which you will make almost as much money. That's the.
So, Subhita, before we let go of you, how strong is this demand of Zoland Territorial Council and Manipur demanding inner line permit from Mizoram? A minute more if you can speak on this.
Yeah, right. Now, all this, the politics in Northeast has been defined by language and ethnicity. India went in for linguist reorganization. So, these demands are self-perpetuating. Therefore, my suggestion here is, and my observation here is considered observation, is that there should be no further breakup of states. States as they exist, they should be there. But if some smaller ethnic groups ask for autonomy, that should be sympathetically considered, and therefore I see nothing wrong in the cookies making a demand for a territorial council because that can exist within the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution. It is perfectly constitutional. They're not asking for a secessionist demand. If there is a secessionist demand, you need to ash it. But if there is an autonomous demand, you need to consider it sympathetically so that people don't get alienated from your system. These are smaller nationalities, and here the trick is, I remember what Rajiv Gandhi told the Mizos, that you are a small nationality, we gave you a statehood. Now you try to give similar autonomy to Chakmas, Lais and Maras. You don't try to deprive them. So this goes down the ladder, that if I treat the Mizos from Delhi as a smaller nationality sympathetically, they need to treat the still smaller nationalities more sympathetically. That's the way to do it.
Right. Subir Bhaumik there, expressing your views. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Karthikeya, one thing is clear that obviously this 490 square kilometer, 500 square kilometer area in which Churachandpur also falls in. Obviously, the Kuki tribes, the demands, as Bhaumik was also saying, is something that the government has been paying attention to. But now what the Biren Singh's government has made it clear that they have been trying to attend to the resentment among the Kuki groups.
I think to sum it up, the issue is slightly complex. You know, there can be multiple sides to a story, but there has to be a bottom line everywhere. The bottom line is that the government was trying to evict illegal settlers.
Right.
The government was trying to destroy the poppy cultivation. Manipur is a border state. The government has become very, I would say, taken a strong measures against narcotic issues, and narcotic fields were being destroyed. Now, in that context, the whole controversy has assumed an identity issue, which it should not.
Right,
because of various
obviously.
reasons, because that is why, you know, the whole issue of Zone and Territorial Council and other things have come up. So I think in this context, I would say that the Northeast is a pretty complex area. And as Sobik very rightly pointed out, that the entire Northeast requires some sort of a land use policy.
Right.
So if you want these people to move away from this, then you should provide alternate crops, alternative lifestyle in rural areas, because it will be very difficult for them to take away the livelihood and say that, you know, now you think about your next day. But then to say that what the government has done is not correct will be wrong.
Absolutely.
Government has been right in taking action against illegal settlers, and especially in context of those who have been cultivating poppy inside protected areas and wildlife sanctuaries.
Absolutely, Karthikeya. One quick look at the map of Manipur and where Churachandpur is, it would make it clear that how close it is to the Myanmar border also, and that's why these actions, preventive actions, not political at all, as it comes to be, are necessary from any government's point of view. Thank you, Karthikeya, for speaking to us, and we'll be bringing more news and updates on News 9 Live.